How is that any different from playing Modern Warfare? What is the princess seeking, I suppose, is what I'm asking. What comes with being a princess? In comparison to what comes with being the soldier with the gun? Are they different? Or is in society, have we conditioned one to be okay and one to be less okay?
I think it's just how much value that the certain person, like whoever's playing Modern Warfare, is watching Cinderella puts behind it. Like one person may put a lot of value in Modern Warfare, and another little girl may put a lot of value in Cinderella. And like, I mean, Cinderella's not a bad thing, whereas like Modern Warfare could be like a quote unquote bad thing, or like Halo or something like that. Like there's just bad stuff in it, but it's just, I guess, dependent on.
Also, if you take both of those to the extreme and you make a soldier to have as much power as he possibly can, and a princess to have as much power as she possibly can, you weigh the different impacts that they could have. Like a princess isn't going to be destructive and violent, and a soldier probably is, and so.
But you also have to
But let me ask about the story of Cinderella in terms of developing an independent, free-thinking female. If that is my simulation, if all I watch are the
Ms.
fantasy.
Stevenson?
Yes.
Hey, the nurse is ready for you guys up in the lounge to do your vision and hearing.
Okay.
And need to be sure the kids bring their papers with them.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. In terms of, do you see what I'm getting at with Cinderella? If all we watch are, if all the little girl watches are the romances, are the saved by the white knight. You are the princess. You will be rescued.
She's going to seek out that one person. She's only gonna say, like, want to love someone or grow up to be someone exactly like that. You know, I want the princess life. I want the guy to come in, save me, sweep me off my feet, stuff like that.
Well, I think she's going to be dependent on everybody else.
Right. And that's a very extreme reaction, but that's where a lot of the feminist view of fairy tales comes from, is the fact that in many of them, women are rescued. Women are in some way saved from their circumstances by a male figure. Does that make sense? So could extend that into in terms of the emotional damage that and we talked about this in fourth hour, like the chick flick romances, where the couple always gets together at the end and the friends always make up, and what do those simulations do? Those kinds of movies do? Can they be just as destructive?
Right. So
we're going to go, I promise.
Speaking simulation-wise, for like Cinderella and stuff, or just princesses, period, usually it's a fairy tale. So it's their life is perfect, but like we said, they always go after that one person that always get married in the end. Bad guy dies. That could be bad because the little girl's life might not be perfect sooner or later. So if she depends on it being perfect, then it's going to kind of let her down and something bad kind of. I don't want to go too bad, but and in Modern Warfare, if you play Modern Warfare when you're like 6 and you play all the way until you're 18 or whatever, and then you enlist for the army, think about the differences in Modern Warfare and the real army. If you go to Modern Warfare and play, you get shot, you don't die. You get shot like 6 or 7 times, you still don't die, and eventually you will die if you get shot enough. But if you go into the real world, usually you get shot and you're dead. So it could be destructive to your future life.
Right.
I do have to say
those are extreme examples,
yeah,
but
I do have to say though on the princess thing. I mean, the princess, Farron was talking about how is a princess going to be destructive or not, and I think that you have to also look at the real life kind of princess setting. I mean, if a girl grows up watching all these movies, that in the end she gets everything she wants. She always gets everything she wants. She gets the boy, she gets the castle. She gets all the dresses and everything she wants. She grows up, getting everything she wants, and I mean that develops into a character trait. I mean, I know people that you would never guess that are they're just, I mean, like there's no better word for it, but they're brats. And I mean it's kind of dangerous almost, because if it's especially I think something we kind of touched on, maybe not said it, is that it also depends on kind of an impressionable age and when those simulations are. I mean, like, if 16, 17-year-old kids, we're you like play Modern Warfare, let's say. I mean, we kind of know at this point in our lives a difference between right and wrong. But I mean, like,
But does every teenager?
I mean, you can't know right and wrong every line, but I mean, you have a general sense, that you can't you can't take 10 bullets in a game and survive. That's just not possible. And so I mean, there's a difference between, a 17-year-old playing it and a 6-year-old playing it. Or, a 17-year-old girl watching Cinderella and a 6-year-old girl watching Cinderella. The 17-year-old girl knows that, White Knight's going to come in on his horse and sweep her off her feet and take her to a castle and give her everything she could ever want. It's not, I mean, there's obviously happy endings in life, but none on that grand of a scale.
It also depends on how much time is spent in the simulation or something. Because if you start it when you're 6 years old and you pretend you're Cinderella and you keep on pretending you're Cinderella, or you keep on pretending you're invincible in Modern Warfare, then by the time you get to 17, you kind of miss the step where you step into reality. And so in short doses, like we're talking about, like if you go to a play, that one short time is not going to affect your entire life. I think it depends if you live that simulation for an extended period of time, like 10, 15 years, then it affects you.
I saw a TV show on True Life, I just remember a long time ago. I don't remember who the girl was trying to be, but she looked just like a celebrity. And so she dressed up, like all her hair and makeup and everything, and she would get paid by people to come and talk to other people because she was acting to be that celebrity and she really wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was just living two lives at one time. So.
I'm going to jump in here and say that I think there's kind of a lot of harm in drawing examples to contemporary culture, like considering that's like the majority of what we've been doing. We're drawing lines to things like Modern Warfare or like certain games, and I think that's kind of an issue when we consider that most of the examples, 2 out of the 4 of the sources up there will never have experience. This is sort of a theme that we've been dealing with since Plato. Like this is a theme that's existed for thousands of years. Do simulations, do things that we don't, do things that we pretend to have or do things that we pretend to have damage our conception of reality. And I think it's important to note that even things like language are sort of an artificial thing that we construct. We pretend to have like a full meaning. We can pretend to have like a full understanding of a concept, a full understanding of a sort of entity that we really don't. And that's what symbolic things like language can do. And it's important to note that like while our examples are good and while they are certainly an instance of simulations threatening reality, it can also take place on a sort of deeper level. And that's what our philosopher buddy over here has been talking about, Plato. That's a lot of what Plato has to talk about, not just contemporary examples.
It makes me think of our society and like how we paint a picture of it being like all happy and peaceful, but in reality life isn't. And like there's war going on in other countries and we're just peaceful and happy. I feel like it's a simulation that our society's put up and we've kind of grown into that.
Is it sort of like the cave people in Plato?
Well, I think almost exactly what David just said. Something Ms. Casanave said in Spanish class the other day. We were talking about some of the Central American countries not being very safe countries, and she was talking about her going to Honduras and Costa Rica and stuff, and she said, but if you went to Costa Rica or Honduras, you'd never know. You wouldn't see it. Like that's, it's kind of what David was saying. It's like there's, that picture. Everybody wants it to look happy.
The tourist perception.
Yeah.
The simulated, like the all-inclusive resorts where you go on certain bus tours. Have y'all been on those? You go on the bus tours and...
Yeah. Well, I think something that's a problem just speaking generally for, I guess, American society, is the kind of happy sense of everything and almost it almost wants to be like in ignorance of problems, that there are problems. And, there are problems, they have to be addressed. And I think that it's kind of a growing trend that people just don't want to deal with them. And they just kind of would rather live in ignorance of them. So
Yeah, that came up in 4th hour. If you watch their seminar, Carrie has a great quote about what the media does in terms of making us apathetic. It's interesting. We have to stop because you